I called my wife manipulative and now she's emotionally distant. Author is mentioned in the description. I am 30, got into an argument with my wife, female 27, a couple months ago, and ended up saying some really hurtful things that she can't forgive me for. Essentially, we never fight. We have disagreements that are quickly resolved but have only had one real fight in the decade we've been together. My wife is incredibly emotional. Sad ad, tears. Reading a book, tears. Telling even a remotely sad story, tears. She feels things very deeply and responds sometimes inappropriately with the amount of emotion she reacts with. I've tried to not have a problem with this as I know that's just her nature, but it can be overwhelming sometimes and embarrassing others. About 3 months ago we happened to get into a huge fight. She was telling a story to some friends and embellishing quite a bit. So I just said, "Hey, I think you're lying a bit here. That didn't really happen like that." I wasn't trying to take away from the story, but I hate liars and she does it a fair bit when storytelling. She told me that she just does it for comedic effect and that everyone knows she doesn't tell stories 100% accurately. It was still bothering me, however, after everyone went home and I brought it up again, to which she told me that we'd already talked about it and she didn't need me to correct her in front of her friends. I'll spare the rest, but we essentially got into a fight and I raised my voice. She immediately started crying, more like sobbing, and I told her that she was being manipulative doing that. Every time I bring up something she takes as a critique, she begins crying, and it's a manipulative way to get me to stop talking about whatever's bothering me. My mom did the same thing to my dad, and I hate when women do that. She asked me through shuttered breathing if I really thought that, and I said yes. I told her that she manipulates the argument into going her way by crying and being the victim. She told me she couldn't even look at me and locked herself into our room to calm down. She came out a few hours later and told me that she was sorry if I thought she was being manipulative, and that it wouldn't happen again. Problem solved, right? Except it's not at all. I didn't notice it immediately, but she started pulling away from me. She won't watch movies with me if there's any sad parts. She doesn't tell me the stories she used to. She won't tell stories to friends when I'm around, and now our friends don't want me to go out when they do because they say she's not fun when I'm there. She stopped reading books in the living room, stopped watching unpredictable TV shows. She won't even talk to her mom on the phone when I'm in the room. I feel like I'm living with a ghost now. It wasn't until yesterday that I even realized I haven't seen her cry since our fight. I brought it up last night and she told me that she didn't want to manipulate me anymore. I told her that her everyday crying wasn't manipulative, and she said, "So it's only manipulative when you're mad at me, and now I don't know what to do." I apologized, said I was wrong for saying that to begin with and that I shouldn't have, but it didn't help. I asked if she wanted to watch The Notebook with me since it's her favorite movie, and she told me she doesn't like it anymore. So, what do I do? Can I do anything? Advice from married men and women, please. Updates same day. I doubt many people will read this as it's a part of my personal profile. I've read and considered the comments under my thread and appreciate them. I've scheduled with an online therapist for tomorrow and I'm currently waiting for my wife to come home. I'm not sure how she's going to react to what I have to say, but I'm hoping she will give me a chance to make this right. I know it isn't something that can be fixed in a day or with a simple apology, but I'm willing to try anything at this point. I've researched marriage counselors in our area but want to see how she feels before going forward with it. I also called my parents and let them know we would be going NC with them for a while I try to fix my mistakes at home. I'm not so sure they will want to talk with me even if I fix it, as they were furious that I will be excluding them from this part of my life. But going off of the thread, I know that that's a boundary I need to make to be able to focus my energy where it's needed and disregard opinions that could only prove to further divide us. I know many people have hoped she will leave me, and if that's the avenue she wants to proceed with, I won't hold her back from a happy future with someone who doesn't diminish her feelings and make her feel like less than she is. Update: I talked to my wife last night. There was so much to say, and I've never been good about sharing my feelings, so it started off painfully awkward. I started with apologizing, not what I did before by just saying sorry, but a full, "I attacked your character and assumed the worst of you when given no prior reasoning to do so. I've damaged and hurt you in a way that I will never forgive myself for, and I would understand if you couldn't either." There was more, but I'll save you guys from every detail. She was mostly shocked when I started and didn't say anything, but she did reach out for me in the first time since I messed up. She looked like she was trying so hard not to cry, and I let her know that her crying has never been the problem in our relationship, that my unwillingness to accept people and see the worst was. It resulted in tears, and in that moment, I realized how much I missed her being her. I told her about how I was starting therapy, and that I would like to do marriage counseling someday to do what I can to mend the damages I've caused between us, but that I would need to go by myself for a while to get to the base reasons of why I react so harshly to things. Some of the comments suggest I write a letter to her, and so while I waited for her to get home, I did that. I wrote about how much I loved her, all of the things about her that made me happy, all the quirks and mannerisms that were undoubtedly her. And then I told her I went NC with my parents. I've never seen her light up so fast. She asked me if I was being serious, and I told her that to be able to focus on her I couldn't have them whispering in my ear anymore. She hugged me and cried for the better part of an hour, saying that they're one of the worst parts of being married to me. She said she can't forgive easily, but that she wants to work on us together. She wants us to move away from my family, and we are discussing options that could make that possible. I am not a good person in general. No one has ever described me as warm or caring except my wife. And I almost lost her being manipulative myself and selfish. I can't put into words how much I appreciate every comment, no matter the content. It made me realize just how much I fucked up. I don't deserve her, but she's willing to give me a second chance at this, and I'm going to be different. I don't think it'll be quick or easy, but I would do anything for her. I don't know if I'll ever update after this. I have a lot of growing up and groveling ahead of me. It's not the update a lot of you wanted, but thank you for your help. Comment from Opus explaining why he went no contact with his parents. I appreciate your comment. My family definitely has a lot of problems, but my mom is one of them. I don't want to get into detail about her because I don't know her very well, and she very well could have been abused by my father. However, when I was in elementary, she drowned my dog as a punishment for something remedial. I'm going to focus on my primary relationship with my wife and consider during that time how much time I want to continue devoting to my family after that. Update number 2. I wasn't sure I'd be back onto update, but I've been receiving a lot of messages asking me how everything has been going, and I figured I'd let everyone know who still wants to know. My wife's pregnant, about 3 months along, maybe more. I saw a pregnancy test in the bathroom trash a few weeks ago. I waited for her to bring it up to me, but she never did. I asked her about it last week, and she started crying, telling me that she loved me so much and that this didn't mean anything. We're both asexual, she used to be anyway. She said when we were fighting, she caught up with someone who doesn't mean anything to her, and things progressed past where she thought they would. She told me she's always been asexual, so she just wanted to verify. There's not much I could say in the moment and needed time to process the information. She told me I'd betrayed her when we'd fought, and I'd called her manipulative, so now we're on even ground and have a chance to start new. I see the logic in that, but it doesn't feel right. I feel an ache in my chest that won't go away no matter what I do. I never wanted kids. I've seen what growing up can look like, and I wouldn't put someone else through it. No matter how hard I work, would I ever really be different from those that raised me? It wasn't worth the risk, and physical touch makes my skin crawl. But here's my wife telling me she's pregnant, has no intention to tell the other man, and waiting for me to say something. I told her that pregnancy was going to be difficult and that I'd buy some books on it. She was so happy. She went to look at baby registries, and I've been in this weird state since. I have put in a lot of work to ensure that our relationship could grow from what it was. I have therapy multiple times a week, and it's proved to be one of the most difficult things I've experienced. I wanted nothing more than for us to work out and be what we used to be, and I still want that, but I feel betrayed. Maybe even more so since she didn't apologize for sleeping with someone. She's happy that we can be a family of 3, ecstatic even, and she wants me to be as well. My mind's divided between what's logical and how it makes me feel. Her family will help with advising on children, and the kid will have one set of grandparents. My parents are still NC, but now the rest of my family is as well. I can't even get into contact with grands across the sea. I've been cut off from everyone on my side. But I knew this could be a possible outcome. That leaves my therapist and Reddit to talk to. That's who I am now, I suppose. My wife doesn't work, and I promised her until death. She's skipping around the house talking about child safety, where the nursery will be, the best schools, names, and I've been in the office reading books that prepare you for parenthood. She's worried about people asking her about the baby when it won't look like me. I'm worried I'll turn into my dad and ruin this child's life before they even have one. So, cheers everyone.